Let me ask you a question. If you found out that we aren't alone, somebody showed you something, some sort of proof, some sort of evidence that proves without any shadow of a doubt that we are not alone, would that frighten you? I hope not. But that's the question that Steven Spielberg, he wants you asking. But I think there's something else that we should be asking. There's something that we should be asking instead. And that question is this: why is the most connected filmmaker in Hollywood, in the entire world, making this movie at this exact moment in time? And furthermore, why do the very same people who are behind this whole push for UFO disclosure have direct lines to this man, the man telling this story, Steven Spielberg himself? Because Steven Spielberg doesn't operate in a bubble. By all accounts, the man is connected. He knows stuff. He's in the know. Maybe you haven't seen it, but recently Steven Spielberg just announced his new movie, Disclosure Day. And this teaser has hit the internet, right? I don't think it's an official trailer. I think it's a teaser. And we're going to break it down and we're going to go over it and we're going to connect some dots between Steven Spielberg, disclosure movement, and this movie that I think are hidden to most of the public, okay? Most people don't realize that Steven Spielberg is connected to this whole thing. He is in the know. And the reason why he's making this movie, let's just say it's a lot darker and it's a lot more nefarious than just any random movie at a random time. The log line for this movie is, I think it goes like, this summer, the truth belongs to 7 billion people. We are coming close to Disclosure Day. This movie is not about aliens. It's not about UFOs. It's about disclosure, the whole subject itself. And that word choice, it matters. It matters more than a lot of people realize. Make no mistake about it. So let's talk about this trailer real quick. So in this trailer, the actress Emily Blunt is playing a Kansas City weather person who becomes possessed on air. Something starts speaking through her during a live broadcast. And if it doesn't sound familiar, it should, because you've been following this whole UAP disclosure movement for a while. So what this is called is soft disclosure. It's a gradual reveal. It's preparing humanity for what's coming. And the release date of this new movie? It's June 12th, 2026. And some people get the date 666 out of that. June is 6. The 12th, if you divide that by 2, is 6. And then 26. Okay, so there you have 666. Whether or not this is a coincidence, you tell me, all right? But basically, this movie comes out almost 1 year before the day that multiple government insiders have claimed that something major will happen. Because make no mistake about it, there are people who are supposedly part of the government who are saying something will happen by 2027 or in 2027 in regard to this whole UFO thing. There's one man, he's a former CIA officer, which should tell you everything you need to know, by the way. He said, I think it was in February 2023, he said something along the lines of, we're preparing the U.S. population, and by extension, the entire world, to that reality, to the reality that UAPs, UFOs, that they're real, and to the reality that there is a presence here on Earth. And then he also said something like that if they show up, there will be mass panic. And then this man goes on to say, I think he said, I've heard that 2027 in a kind of official capacity, but he can't reveal it, that people in the government are aware of something happening and there's limited time to prepare the people.
We're kind of preparing the U.S. population, at least, and by extension, the world population, into that reality that there is a presence here, and that we need to explain this presence. Because if they show up and we continue to do what we did before in previous decades, and they show up, there will be mass panic. But if you understand that these are real, and we have 5 years from 2022, or maybe now 4 years, if they come in 2027, for the U.S. government to prepare the people about what is up there. And in many ways, I think the word got out within the government that they're showing up in 2027, and we better be prepared. And if not, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do. And so I think that dialogue has happened within inside the government, in certain areas inside the government, that we need to prepare. And that's why in 2017, that set a clock of 10 years. And why Lou Elizondo earlier in this year said, just find a hobby for 5 years. And, it'll all be out in 5 years. And he said that this year, so that was 2027. And I would say I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity that I can't reveal. So I think I would say that people in the government are aware of something happening and that there's limited time, a few more years to prepare the people. And that's what's ramping up this acceleration from the previous 7 decades of not even acknowledging it to now we are acknowledging it at a faster and faster pace.
Basically, the CIA man is saying that, yeah, something's coming. There is an event that will happen by 2027, and we're running out of time. We have to prepare people. We have to get people ready for this disclosure, for Disclosure Day, okay? So, and then you have UFO researcher Jeremy Corbell. He said in this TV show, I've shown this clip a few times, but I'll show it again real quick.
And that truth is that UFOs are real. They've already done told you. Sometimes when you want somebody to know a truth, it's so you can set them up to believe a lie. And that's coming. I have zero doubt. That lie is coming.
What is the lie?
Specifically, you want me to say it right now? For real? Real? On camera. To be put in the show?
Yeah.
Okay. Problem with that. If we tell the lie before it's told, they can adapt. That wouldn't be wise. I'll tell you privately, but I would really think about if you want to put this in your show. For real. That's a real thing I'm telling you. So will you think about it before putting it in your show?
Absolutely.
Okay. So UFOs are real, and they've been here a long time, and that's the truth. But the lie is coming. All indications, like all of them, is that that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe. It's nuanced, how they explain that, the nature of that threat. But that 100% is the lie you are going to be told. You even got a date. People have been whispering a date for a long time now. I know where that lie comes from. I know specifically what document from the 70s initiated the idea of that lie. A classified document. That is the lie you will be told. You're going to be told that there is a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I sent you 2 texts today with a year. Not from me. Nope. I'm not going to propagate that lie. Not going to be part of it. Not going to say it to the camera. Everybody knows. Just start paying attention. And they'll change the date, especially if they see this. Things will change. Because maybe I'm trustworthy. Maybe I'm worthy of your trust. Maybe I've told you the truth the whole way through it. Now you can verify it.
So there you have 2 people. And now the third one is Ross Coulthart. You know him, the Australian guy. He claims that government insiders told him that the entire world should know about the extraterrestrial presence within 12 to 18 months. And I believe that was the end of 2024. So here we are right now at the 12-month mark. And if you add 6 months to that, what does that bring us to? Well, almost the exact same time where this new Steven Spielberg movie is coming out, Disclosure Day. Coincidence? I think not. I think this movie will be used in a way that will help people deal with some new information, okay? So I think it coincides. All these things are happening at the same exact time on purpose. It's all been pre-planned, and they've been working on this for a long time. Okay. Even Luis Elizondo, who we've covered before a million times, he's hinted at similar timelines without committing to specific dates. He talks about in his book Imminent, basically, that this whole disclosure thing is imminent and we need to get out ahead of it so people aren't freaked out when it happens. And of course, if you follow this channel, you know that this whole thing isn't what they're claiming it to be. It's a lot darker, it's a lot more biblical, and we shouldn't be scared at all because in reality, these things are scared of us. All right? We hold the power, not them. But let's back up a little bit, because now people are pushing this whole 2027 date. Whether it's real or not, I have no idea. I honestly don't believe that it is real. What I think is going to happen is some sort of psyop. Whether they're going to push this false alien narrative on us, whether, there is some sort of announcement where these things are coming to Earth. Whatever it is, I believe it's going to be false, and maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? That's just how I believe. I don't believe anything that these people say. I believe that they're all trying to basically conduct a psychological operation on us and get us to be swayed in a certain direction with this information. And that reason is deception. And furthermore, the Bible talks all about this mass deception that will happen in the end times that will unify the entire world. So whether this is disclosure or not, well, that remains to be seen. So before I get sidetracked here, what this video is about, really, it's not about 2027. It's not about what they're claiming is coming to Earth. It's not about disclosure. It's not about any of that. It's about that the people, the very same people, mind you, that are pushing this whole 2027 narrative are, by all accounts, the same people who are connected to Steven Spielberg. Because Steven Spielberg and these disclosure people, they're far more intertwined than Hollywood or mainstream wants you to know. Steven Spielberg's not just some random director. He knows a lot of stuff. And here's where things get interesting, all right? So you know who Dan Farah is? Probably not. He is the producer of Steven Spielberg's film Ready Player One. Great movie, right? This movie, I think it premiered in South by Southwest in 2018. So Dan Farah, who produced the movie Ready Player One for Steven Spielberg, is the very same Dan Farah who produced the movie, wait for it, The Age of Disclosure. That's right, this new UFO documentary that broke Amazon Prime's record for the highest grossing documentary ever, and just last month. And this film is going viral right now. This is the man who is pushing the official disclosure narrative. He's a collaborator with Spielberg. This man is collaborating with Steven Spielberg, has collaborated with him, and he's making the most mainstream disclosure documentary ever produced. He featuring like 34 government testimonies from officials, including Marco Rubio, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, also testimony from former Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller, Luis Elizondo, of course, David Grush, Jay Stratton, all the names. All the former Pentagon UAP guys, that whole task force, all these people. The people who are in this film, all right? These are the people that are pushing the disclosure movement. And one of these very same officials that I just mentioned, I forgot exactly which one, but he went on camera saying that he has seen with his own eyes non-human crafts, non-human beings, okay? And the fact that this man that produced this movie is connected to Steven Spielberg tells you everything you need to know. But that's not where the connection ends. It gets a lot deeper. So this producer of the documentary, Age of Disclosure, he has a documented working relationship with the director of Disclosure Day. So think about that. Do you think there's a coincidence there? The Age of Disclosure comes out, and then 6 months later, Disclosure Day comes out, and these two men are friends. They know each other. They work together. Okay? I don't think that this is a coincidence, and we can get into the exact reasons why. And that brings us back to 1977. Steven Spielberg, the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Remember that one? Guess who Steven Spielberg's technical advisor was for that movie? None other than Dr. J. Allen Hynek. Remember him? J. Allen Hynek was the man who was in charge of the official Air Force UFO investigation program, Project Blue Book. And remember, this is the very same man who would go and debunk all of these UFO sightings. He would say that they were swamp gas. And he would say that most of them are fake. Or he said all of them were fake. He would go on national TV and make these statements that there are no UFOs. The whole thing is fake. But then when he retired, he had a change of heart. He came out after he retired and said that UFOs aren't fake. They're actually real. And he was told to say they were fake. And the government is definitely hiding something about UFOs. Okay, so this is the man who was the face of the UFO disclosure movement in the 70s. Steven Spielberg hired him to be a consultant on his film. And here's what Steven Spielberg himself said in interviews. Let's see if I can find the page. He said that NASA sent me a 20-page letter warning me not to make this movie because it was, quote, dangerous. Think about that. And then he continued saying that he got reinvigorated, or I think he said the quote was that he found his faith when he heard that the government was opposed to him making the film. And now we have the tables have turned. It's the complete opposite. Not only are people ready for it, the government is ready for people to be ready for it. So they're pushing it. They probably tapped Steven and was like, hey, bro, make this movie now. You know, the one that we've been talking about. It's time. Make it now. It has to be released on this exact day because something's coming and we need the people to be softened up. And don't forget what Reagan said, right? After a private White House screening of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, President Reagan, he allegedly, all right, I don't know if this is true, President Reagan said to Spielberg, he said, you don't know how true this really is. And remember, guys, this is Reagan we're talking about, the very same president who would go to the UN and make these infamous speeches about an alien threat and how it would unite humanity. All right. And I mean, I've shown this clip a million times. I don't need to show it again. You've probably seen it. So that brings us to predictive programming. You know, the theory that the mass media deliberately introduces ideas, certain ideas to prepare populations for future events. And I know it sounds fringe, it sounds weird, it sounds wacko until you look at some of the documented history of these strange occurrences that happened in movies first and then happened in real life. There's too many to list. I go over this a lot. And remember, the CIA, okay, they had I think they called it an entertainment liaison that worked for Hollywood for decades. And this is public record, people, because these films form a very specific purpose, and that is to condition the public. So the idea is this, just give people many decades of these alien contact movies, and then when you tell them it's real, they're ready because they've been prepared, they've been conditioned, they've seen how many alien movies have they seen. So it comes out, hey, you know what? This whole thing is actually real, and here's how to feel about it. Here's this new movie, all right? People are ready. That's why they're pushing it right now. People aren't going to panic because they've already processed it emotionally through fiction. How many times have you gone to the movies? You've watched, let's say you watched Independence Day. You remember that? I remember watching that in the theaters and having these long conversations with everybody I knew about what would happen if this Independence Day scenario actually took place. So we're able to take these fictional stories and process them in a way that gives us a foundation to stand on in case it actually happens. And now we have this film by Steven Spielberg, literally called Disclosure Day, releasing 1 year or even a few months before multiple government insiders claim something will happen. And remember, I'm not saying that something will happen. I'm just saying that they are saying that something will happen. I don't think it will happen. I think it's a psyop. If it does happen, well, we will be ready for it and we're not going to be caught off guard. Okay. So it's better to prepare for something that doesn't happen than when something does happen, or if something does happen, you're not prepared for it and you don't know how to react. So it's clear that this movie, Disclosure Day, isn't an accident. They're putting it out on what some people say is 666 on purpose because it shows that these aliens are 666. They're the devil. They're Satan themselves. They're demonic. They're fallen angels. They're all of these things. They're manifesting in a way that is going to bring in this beast system, this antichrist system, the final system of man that the Bible talks about. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's break down what Steven Spielberg is showing us in this new trailer. So we talked about this just a little bit, but let's go a little bit deeper. So in this trailer, in the movie, Emily Blunt's character is a weather woman. She is supposed to be the ordinary person, the one of us, somebody that the audience can identify with. She becomes a vessel, randomly, live on air, and something starts speaking through her. Okay? And real quick, who does that sound like? Well, I think it sounds like Jacob Barber. Jacob Barber was he's one of these people who had this experience. He was working for the military. He was working in one of these top secret UAP programs, collecting crashed UFOs. And he said that he got possessed by something, by a being. When they got to a certain distance from the UFO that they were going to pick up, something possessed him. Something entered him. Something started putting thoughts in his head. He said he felt pure love and started crying, whatever it was. So here we have a connection to a real-life UFO whistleblower, Jacob Barber, being possessed, and Emily Blunt's character, who is possessed live on TV. Now, we don't know, since this is a trailer, it's a teaser, we haven't seen the movie yet, we don't know how in-depth this whole thing goes. We can only take what they're giving us and use it and try and piece together some puzzle pieces, right? So then you have the Josh O'Connor's character who declares that people have the right to know the truth because it belongs to 7 billion people.
People have a right to know the truth. It belongs to 7 billion people.
And then, of course, you have animals sensing something. You have the religious figures reacting to it. You have all the nuns. And the nuns are saying that, oh, you know, like this is what the Catholic Church is actually saying in real life, too. That God created this whole universe. Who says he can't create these beings on other planets? And as far as I know, that's the Catholic Church's official stance on UFOs, is that if they do show up, yeah, they're also God's creatures. However, what they always conveniently forget to mention is the fact that these entities, these UFOs, these beings that pilot the UFOs, they are not, and I repeat, they are not from other planets. Not even close. They are from other dimensions, and this is provable. Anybody who studies ufology comes to this same conclusion. The fact that these beings, these entities, they fall under the authority of Jesus Christ tells you everything you need to know. They're scared of him. They cower when they hear his name, just the same way the demons do. And this is documented. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of people's testimonies that document these entities being scared of Christ. So if they come from other planets, like the Catholic Church wants you to believe, they come from other planets, they're all God's children, why would they be frightened of Christ? Doesn't make sense. And by all accounts, they are frightened by Christ. We can go down these rabbit holes all day, but what I want to do is get back to this film so we can kind of put this whole thing together and make the point that Steven Spielberg is releasing this movie at a specific time for a specific reason, and that specific reason is a psyop. It's a government psychological operation to get the masses of people in the world to go along with this narrative that they're going to be pushing, all right? So the reality of the whole disclosure thing is it's bigger than government. It's bigger than, you know, all these programs, these UFO programs. It's much bigger because it's cosmic, it's spiritual, and it's evil at its core. Because when this whole thing happens, you make no mistake about it, there will be two sides. Everything will split. You'll have the Bible believers, and I'm not talking about the mainstream Bible believers, because you better believe the Catholic Church, you better believe all of the mega churches, they're going to jump on board this alien train and accept them as some sort of savior. But us, the remnant, the people who actually know what the Bible says is coming, we're going to resist it, and it's going to be bad for us. But you know what? Our reward is not now. It's in the next life. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think this new movie is going to be, you know, what I'm making it out to be, some sort of psychological operation to condition the public to accept these events when they happen? Do you think it is predictive programming? Or do you think I'm just blowing it out of proportion? It's just a piece of entertainment, and we shouldn't look too deep at movies because it's just a way to have fun? Put in the comments. I'm curious to read what you think about this. So I want to thank you all for watching this video. Please share this and hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And yeah, we'll see you next time. God bless you all.